I'm not going to lie, I expected it to be pretty awful. I was expecting it to be hours upon hours sitting in a lecture on a Friday, just listening to lots of nonsense that I would forget in a matter of minutes. But it's not, it's a lot better than that. It's not just sitting around at chairs for hours on end listening to some bloke drone on about art nonsense. He gets us physically engaged with the work, and like the activities he sets us to do are always completely relevant to what we're doing, and they help us stick in our mind, help us remember what it is and what exactly helps us. And he also manages, no matter what you're looking at, depending if you're looking at fine art or filmmaking, he managed to put it together so it's relevant to everyone. The most memorable thing that Dan's got us to do was performance art, where we put in groups of people and then we were just told to do stuff around the college. Like lots of us were just lying on the floor and seeing how people react to what we're doing. So like lots of people were just like, oh, I don't want to go through that way because they might be doing something, they might be filming something. It's sort of interesting to see how people react to just things out of the ordinary in their spaces.
I thought contextual study was going to be really boring about old art history. I also thought that Dan would just like speak at us and we'd all be like sleeping. But in reality it's much more of a discussion, everyone gets involved and we all just like talk about what the lecture's about. It's much more chilled and stuff.
It's different because we get to interact in social activities where in the conversation, rather than Dan just speaking to us, he's engaging with us rather than just talking to us. Within the activities that we do with him, we're able to learn as well as just have fun.
We looked at the question of like what is art for, and I really like the answer of balance. So like during the Industrial Revolution, art focused around nature was really popular. And then I find myself, as I'm very extroverted and loud, I gravitate towards more like calmer works and more kind of intricate pieces. So I found like that idea of balance really, really interesting.
It makes me think of why pieces of work have been created, the emotion and the reasoning behind it. It shows the importance not of the image, but of why a thing has been made and created. It's made me think within my own practice and my own work why I am doing this and why I'm creating this animation or this film. And it's fundamentally important, and contextual studies has shown me that the reasoning is just as important as the image itself.
I found that something that really inspired me was when we went on the London trip and I visited the V&A to see the Fashion from Nature exhibition. I think it really influenced my decision on my pathway choice, so I initially chose fine art and then I decided to shift to fashion. I really enjoyed the exhibition just as it showed me everything that you can do with fashion. It was very broad, I felt, and the way that the exhibition was laid out really helped me see everything you could do. And I think had I gone before Foundation with Contextual Studies, it wouldn't have been as influential on me, as the way we're built to think now is a lot different. I think a lot deeply now when I go to exhibitions, and I think a lot more about the processing, semiotics, meaning in general behind the exhibition.
Yeah, similar for me. My perspective on exhibitions was changed when we went to London after we had a contextual study on space and place. And when we went to London, we went to the Hayward Gallery to see the Space Shifters exhibition. And it kind of taught me to look at the space in between exhibitions and the pieces in the exhibition, because the way it's laid out is just as important as the actual pieces within it.
I've found that the difference is that we actually have a creative in contextual studies and we get support with it rather than just being told to go and find an artist and write a bit about them and then basically copy their work. We're actually learning more about the artist's procedures and practices and how we can then implement those into our own disciplines.
I find that at contextual studies in college, I actually enjoy it far more than any sort of education I've had at school. Like, at school, everything was very much you had to learn about something in sort of a techie way, like how they did it and like how that helps you. In college, it's far more like what the artist is all about, what their work is all about, like how they are as a person has affected their work and what their process means to them.
So just learning about different aspects of, or like disciplines, in the whole art spectrum. Like, for instance, performance and site-specific stuff has really led me to like develop in those areas where before I just hadn't even thought about that sort of thing.
What?
No.
Wait.
I've got hot chocolate waiting for me back in the cafe.
Just think of the hot chocolate.
Yeah.
You get it.
Hot chocolate!
I've made friends with so many new people. Come here.
What makes you you? Do you need to pause that?
Even after lectures, we're left thinking and asking questions such as, why do we make art?
How do you define creativity?
What is the difference between space and place?
If you make an action in the world, can it be undone?
How closely does your social media profile represent your actual identity?
What makes you you?